Karibuni, karibuni, our Facebook friends. Anybody in the Facebook world, come in, come right in. We have a great show prepared for you. Invite your friends. Let them know Queen of all queens is here today.
Okay.
Yes, the Queen of all queens is here to tell us a lot about thriving in diaspora. So my friend, Lady Catherine, how are you?
I am good. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
I am trying to get on Facebook. That's
Okay.
why I'm not looking at you. But
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, let me get on Facebook.
People, yes.
Okay, so that I can also share. Okay. That's not gonna help me because it says I have the old password. Not good. Okay, here. That works. That works. All right. So give me a second. Let me find you so that I can share.
Yes, let's share. Call our friends, let them know we are here. This is gonna be a hot topic.
All right. Okay, I see. And there's plenty of folk over here. All right, let me share this to my wall. All right. So I think I am ready to pay attention.
You are.
Let
me put you on another. Let me see. One more. And then we will pay attention.
Yeah.
So how have you been?
All right. I have been well. 2021 has been interesting, and I've been very busy trying to inaugurate.
Yes.
Now that we had an inauguration,
yeah,
I've been busy trying to inaugurate stuff because I realized that it's very easy for every 4 years to have a new election, and we chit chat about politics.
Yes.
And then in the meantime, nothing has changed in our lives. So
correct.
I definitely want that by the time Joe Biden leaves, that I will have something to show for the 4 years he was in power.
Okay.
Yes.
That is a good plan.
Yes.
All
it's a good benchmark, actually. It's a good it allows you to have different, stages, and break life out into sections, because when you're in school, and I know I'm totally going off topic. You direct me however you want.
Because I know you and I might go really way off, and people will miss the essence of the show. All right. Yes. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate that you have taken time out of your busy Monday evening to come and join the Diaspora Conversation. And today I have the honor and privilege of hosting my friend, Dr. Catherine Gathuka Franklin. She is a motivational speaker, an author, a coach. She is a dynamic woman in many, many ways. She is president of Queen's Ministry in the United States. She is also partner of the Thrive Consulting. And today we have the honor of talking about how do we thrive in the diaspora. So Lady Catherine, welcome to my show. And I know you're going to add lots of value to our viewers. And so when they live here, they will have lots of nuggets that they can apply in 2021. So our friends who are watching us, please do follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, find us, you will, and follow us. We always have different things that we talk about, but they all have something that you can take and use. So Dr. Catherine, please introduce yourself to our viewers. Anything that I left out, please go ahead.
I think you covered quite a bit. I'm a mother and wife, child of God,
Yes.
love God, and yeah, you know, I'm a person who loves to share what I know. When I learn stuff, I love to share.
Yes.
And budding blogger.
Uh-huh.
And by profession, I'm an accountant. I'm a CPA by profession, been a CPA for over 15 years, about 20 years.
Wow.
And yes, and so that is my area of expertise. And so I specialize in taxation and business consulting.
Awesome. So you are that girl that we used to point when it comes to math in school, right?
Yeah, I'm a little on the nerdy side. People don't think I'm nerdy, but I'm actually quite nerdy. Okay. I do like math.
Mm-hmm. You do. Okay, yes. So you are in the right profession. So tell us what Thrive Consulting is all about. What are the services that one can benefit from? Tell us a little bit about Thrive Consulting.
Thrive Consulting is a business whose intention is to support small business people.
Okay.
And one of the areas we realized that small businesses were struggling in was in the area of finding funding. Okay. And so we actually got into the consulting spot initially to really just help small businesses, be a liaison, funding liaison, to help small businesses structure themselves, present themselves in a manner that they would be able to qualify for funding. Okay. So we do a lot of that. But along the way, we also realized that we can serve them in other areas such as business registration, general business consulting, systematization, business planning, and now I bringing in that taxation side of things. Okay. And even as I look forward to spending more time in Thrive Consulting, I'm looking towards the end of the year, later on this year, to start spending more and more time of my time and my resources in Thrive Consulting. So bringing in that taxation piece. And one of the areas that we love helping small businesses with, and small business entrepreneurs, is in that area of catching up on their taxes. Okay. For whatever reason, life happens, you're busy doing your business and you fail to file your taxes. So that you're sitting there, and what happens is that you fail 1 year, you fail second year, by the third year, you're now totally scared. So you do nothing. You turn around and you find yourself, you're 4 or 5 years behind. You haven't filed your taxes. And you're like, where do I even start? And you're so afraid of the IRS. And of course, and then again, maybe they have already sent you a letter or two. And so that is an area that we are good at. We are not afraid of the IRS. We've dealt with them for so long. And if we can help, and that is, and so helping those people come out of the shadows, because there are things that you're not going to be able to do if you're not filing your taxes. Besides, if you're an immigrant and needing to keep up with your status, needing to file for your citizenship and any of that nature, you do need to get those taxes up to date. So those are some of the things, but the idea is supporting small business people and entrepreneurs.
Awesome. And so do you find that when somebody is behind, 5 years, how do they even come out of it? Or even 3 years, how do you come out of that?
It depends. It depends on the situation you are in. It depends on, sometimes it's not even that you owe taxes, because if you really don't owe, we really just need to catch you up on your tax returns. And yes, we may need, there may be a little bit of wrangling, but there's not it all varies. Now, there are some people who haven't filed because they owe a lot of money, and there's ways to deal with that. If the reason you're on the shadows is because you owe money, there's a way to deal with that. Yes. But but sometimes you're getting letters because what happens is that in this day and age, for the most part, if you do work, you offer services anywhere, you are getting a 1099. That 1099 is being reported to the IRS. So the IRS is looking at your 1099, but there's no matching tax return. So they are assessing a tax liability based on what has been reported to them, because you haven't reported anything on your side. So sometimes all we need to do is really get those tax returns caught up. And then we are able to, with presenting that information, we're able to now have a foot to stand on to say, you really don't owe this money.
Correct.
So, but then the other thing is sometimes you might even have money that's owed to you. And the thing is, if you don't file, if you don't get caught up in those tax returns and that money is lost, you have 3 years to claim a refund from the IRS. So for example, even, and so you know how we file the following year. So if you have a refund for 2016, you literally have 2016 to 17, 17 to 18, 18 to 19. If you go past 19, you lose that money. So that's the other thing. Sometimes I say, you know what, get caught up, because there may be money that you're entitled to, and that's sitting with the IRS. They may owe you money. You may not even owe them money, and they may be sitting on your money, and they won't give it to you if you are past what they call the statute of limitations.
Wow.
Yes.
So if we have money sitting out there, we need to go get it.
Exactly. So if you're there, you haven't filed your taxes for a minute, reach out to us. We want to help you. We want to hold your hand and get you out of that, get you out of the shadows.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about how one has, how do you develop a winning mentality in this diaspora? You're an immigrant, you've just arrived, or you've been here a couple of years. How do you develop a winning mentality that helps you thrive in this new country?
I think that that's a good question. And there's something about the United States that, and I don't know whether you felt this way, but I vividly remember when I first came into this country, there's a grandness about the United States that can easily make you feel small.
Yes.
And inconsequential. And I felt like I'd been thrown in a pit.
Yes.
So but what I found, and I believe is true, is that in spite of the grandness of this nation is also a country that rewards uniqueness and rewards your ability to connect, to provide a solution.
Yes.
If you can provide a solution, this country really doesn't care whether you have an accent or even the color of your skin. And the thing is, when you look at, there's a lot of people who do amazing things in this nation that have very thick accents. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of them,
Yes.
At some point in time, governor of California.
Correct.
So what I realized is that these accents and color, and that's, and I get picked on for having this perspective, but sometimes even color, and they are artificial barriers. They're really not true barriers. I think because I really do believe that each one of us is endowed with the ability to thrive.
Yes.
I believe that as a child of God, as a child of the creation, of the creator, that you don't show up in this world without the capacity to thrive, the capacity within you. Now, you have to tap into that capacity. You have to tap into that ability that is within you. And so if you don't tap into it, that's a whole different ballgame. But it's not that it's not there. So I think the winning mentality is understanding that you have the ability, that the belief in yourself, that you're no different, you're no worse. You may not even necessarily be better, but you're not worse than anybody else in this nation.
Yes.
So that you do have the capacity. So that belief in self is what allows you to start utilizing who you are and start showing that capacity that is within, utilizing that capacity. And as you utilize that capacity, your confidence will grow.
Correct.
And so, and confidence builds upon confidence. And that is, I believe, is how we are able to win. For me, the thing that caught my attention was the thing that I understood is that I knew that I could study. So I performed really well, and I became a very student. I became an excellent student, and that built my confidence in understanding that I could win in this nation, even if I had an accent, because if I can beat you in class, then we can go compete in the marketplace. And so even though I have some barriers of citizenship at the time and all these other barriers that I have, but understanding that there's no situation where there's zero for me. There is something for me. I just need to find it.
Yes.
So yes. So that is what I would say. The belief, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can win. I think that's why it all begins.
Talk about, even with that, even having that attitude, talk about being the essence and the value being prepared gives you. What kind of an edge does being prepared have?
Yes. I think once you understand that you are capable, then now you, at the end of the day, opportunity has to meet preparedness.
Correct.
for you to actually have a harvest. And the thing is, and let me come back and say, I love to say that money is, and I'm going to use money because sometimes that's what we measure, the ability, the capacity to make money, to make money as part of what makes us think that we win. Money is a byproduct of productivity. So you produce and you exchange productivity for money. So when you understand your capacity to produce, okay, and you find that space that needs what you produce.
Yes.
And so basically getting yourself in that space that you can actually produce something, whether it is a service, okay, like I provide a service, I provide taxation as a service. So preparing myself, getting the knowledge so that I could actually sit in the space that I sit and serve multi-millionaires. So that preparedness, so I start with a belief and then I put in the work.
Yes.
To grow my capacity. So you have potential, but that potential has to be grown into capacity. And whether that is getting an education, whether that is experience, whether that is reading an extra book, whatever what you need to build capacity, but you have to build that capacity so that when your capacity meets a need, then you can actually, you can produce something that somebody needs, whether it's a service or a good.
Yes. And right there, your level of thriving and feeling like you have value seems to be captured. And so do you think there's a cookie cutter recipe for all of us?
No, I don't think there's a cookie cutter recipe. I think we are unique individuals.
Yes.
And you have to find your uniqueness. And one of the things that is a pro and a con of being an immigrant is that sometimes when you're an immigrant, you want to sit in the warmth of other immigrants, especially immigrants that come from the same country as you, because there is safety in the numbers. You feel like you're not going to fall through the cracks. So there's that. But unfortunately, that warmth and community can also be a hindrance. And this is what I mean. If we want to become, if we assume that the only way to succeed, the only way to win, the only way to thrive is only one way, because we know X succeeded through this way, so we follow that way instead of tapping into the uniqueness that we have. Because the thing is, as I said, I believe everybody comes into this world with the capacity to succeed, the capacity to thrive.
Yes.
But that capacity looks different. Lucy, you and I, we are buddies, we are friends, but we bring very different things to the table. You know what I mean? We can chat all day about stuff, you know what I mean? But you come into the marketplace with a very different skill set than I've come into the marketplace with. We can even be two people who love math, but one person can take their math and go do statistics, or actually give you an example. There's a guy called Solomon, and I interviewed him sometime here on Facebook, and he took his accounting and went to a different direction and went into the finance side. I took the same accounting, same CPA, and went to the taxation side. Both of us thriving in our own space, but in very different spaces. And this is a thing I say that you have to know who you are. You have to know not just your aptitude, your natural aptitude, that you have to match with your work. Your highest capacity to produce comes when you match that natural aptitude, that thing that you're really good at, that comes easy to you. Match that with your work. When you match that with your work, that's your highest capacity to produce and your highest capacity for pay, for income. Yes. You're gonna make the most money doing that which you're already naturally endowed to do. But so you have to understand what that is. And so the challenge comes when we decide that there's only one way, meaning that how most people are not going to be fitting in that cookie cutter. So even if we study the same course, we have to understand, how do I apply this course? How do I use this degree in a manner that fits me in my unique being that I am, in my unique personality, in my unique natural aptitudes, and in terms, even like with industry, I say that industries have personality, and if your personality clashes with a particular industry, you're not going to thrive, even if you have the skill set. Correct. So like, for example, let's even talk about like tech. There's tech for gaming. There's tech that produces programming for computer programs. There's all different kinds of tech, right? Correct. There's tech for hardware. You gotta know, you may be good with tech, but are you good with tech? Where? Do you thrive in tech in hardware? Do you thrive in tech in software development? Do you thrive in the creation of gaming, or what do you call it? Graphic arts. All that is tech. Correct. I mean, tech is used for pixel and film production. How do I match my personality and my knowledge in a way that I can maximize my potential? Yes. That is critical in being able to thrive. And that's why cookie cutter doesn't work. You gotta find your unique, how to apply that uniqueness to the marketplace. Correct. And so when and to your point, when I see so many people going into healthcare, they want to become nurses, and they don't have that personality. You don't like people. You hate touching people, and so yes, you're going into a field thinking you'll make a lot of money. Then you come and you find that that money is not that much, because you hate touching people, you hate doing certain things with people, and so I like that idea of us being able to find what we are good at and pursuing that, and you become more effective and happy, and you will thrive. So talk about, this is something that we've talked about, you and I, a lot. Talk about the power of asking for what you want, what you need. Yes. So in that comment about, let's say, for example, like nursing, and let me just add on to that. Yes. If you find yourself, because the thing is, you cannot thrive in that which you hate. Yes. You cannot succeed. You cannot have a maximum productivity in something you hate. You may produce at the lowest common denominator. Yes. And this is the thing, your ability to command top dollar, whether you're giving a service or a good, your ability to command top dollar is based on your capacity to produce high quality as well as in large quantity. You know what I mean? So the quality and the quantity, right? But you cannot, you're not going to thrive at a job you hate. So you might be there, but you're going to be at the lowest common denominator. So that's why you have to ask, okay, so if you're there and you're saying, I have a degree, I have a nursing degree, I have this degree, but I took it because I wanted money. and I know that I am not maximizing my potential. Then the question is, how can you take that degree, that education, and start to ask yourself, where else can you apply that education in a manner that is more befitting to your personality? Correct. In a space where you can enjoy, in an industry that works better with who you are, because we bring all of who we are, not just our education, but our personality is in there as well. So that's what I would say for somebody who is saying, okay, I went in this direction for this reason. So you can tweak. You don't have to go back necessarily to school, but you can think about, how do I take this and augment it differently? You asked me a question about, sorry, I veered.
The power of asking. No.
Okay.
We're still on track. We're still on track.
Yes, okay. So now on the power of asking, your power is in your voice. Your power is in your voice. And this is the thing. I learned this lesson very powerfully very early on in this country. Maybe you've heard me tell this story about how I was this pretty smart girl, had really good grades, and I was getting passed up for scholarships. The school I attended had really good scholarships for accounting students. So I would apply for these scholarships and I wasn't getting any. So I was a sophomore and didn't get any scholarship throughout that year. So at the end of it, I went into the office and said, why am I not getting a scholarship? What is it? I have good grades. I mean, and the professor who was there, who at the time I thought was very arrogant, said to me, well, who are you? And I was like, David. Oh, wow. Okay. That is a place you're like, hey, this guy is a racist. Okay?
Yes.
That's the first thing. That's the first place.
The first thing that goes through your mind.
Racist. Anyway, and I said, I'm Catherine, I'm a student. I come to class. And he said, there are so many people apply for scholarship. Unfortunately, we're gonna give to those who we know. And you know, that threw me off. I was like, oh my God, this is the same Kemenyano. Okay, sorry for those who don't understand that language. This is the same, you know, that from back home. But he said, no, he said, this is a thing. You've got to be visible. And you have to be visible. And so and being visible means that you have to raise your hand, come into the office, let's know who you are. And when we know who you are, so that when we are looking through thousands of names or hundreds of names, we can say, that is Catherine. We know Catherine. I know her, you know, and you get moved to the top of the list, you know, you get moved to that 10%, whereas everybody else is applying and is not known. But okay, and I just realized I'm telling you about visibility and that has nothing to do with asking. But
no, it does.
Yes. No, okay, because so part of asking has to also go with visibility. Yes. And so I went back to that space of that your power is in your voice. And there are two things that are important in your voice. One is in opening your mouth very wide to say about what you're good at. Okay. Yes. You have to speak about who you are and what you're good at. And that's not something we come into this country with. That is not something that is encouraged growing up. As a person who is born and raised in Kenya, so we tend to have this perspective of meekness. So we don't speak out about what I'm good at. So I see Joaquin here saying that, you know what, she loves the kitchen and she's good with chapatis. You know, we would normally, you know, we want to say, hey, Joaquin, don't tell us how much you're good in, how good your chapatis are. Yes. Because that is bragging. Because we are told you don't brag. Bragging is a bad thing. Yes. So we tend to then keep quiet because we think and assume that people are automatically going to know that we give out a good service or a good product. So we sit in the corner and do a great job, but we don't speak up to say that we are actually good at what we do. And so what ends up happening is we become like that girl who is invisible. So you're good, but because you don't use your voice to amplify that which you are good at and what you are producing, then we never get to know. So your visibility has to go along with your voice. Okay. Correct. So you do a good job and you make sure that it's visible. And sometimes the only way you bring visibility is by speaking out. Yes, it's by saying. So and so when your kids, and this is a thing, we have to work at it. We have to learn this skill because we didn't grow up with it. But our children, we need to encourage that in our children. So when your children come and tell you, man, I did this, I'm making this, I'm doing this, you say, yes, good job, tell me more.
Yes.
So that they can be willing to continue to share, and they can build that muscle, and so that they don't have shame associated with their ability, their capacity.
Yes.
So, and then the other side of that coin is also there asking for that which you believe you deserve. So first of all, deliver good quality, but then ask. You have to ask, because if you do not ask, you do not get. You have not because you ask not. And that's what the Bible says, that you have not because you don't ask, or you ask amiss. So we have to learn to ask. And that is getting the boldness and the courage to speak up and say, I deserve a raise, or because I delivered 1, 2, 3, and because I delivered this, I am asking for a raise because I am delivering so much capacity. I am producing so much.
Yes.
And because I'm producing so much, then based on what is in the market, this is what the market is paying for this level of productivity. And therefore, I am asking for a raise, or I am asking for this rate for my work, for my consultation. There are times when, and not being bashful to ask for that which you are worthy of. But I will tell you something, Lucy. There's a part of the reason why we don't ask is because we struggle with worth. Okay. Going back to that belief, right? So when we struggle with am I worthy of asking for $250 an hour? Like, if you come to me and I say, my rate is $250 an hour and you want to run. But the thing is, but this is the thing, you have to know that you're worthy, and you have to make sure that you're delivering that level of service.
That's right.
Okay, that level of capacity, that level of, but you also have to know that you're worthy. And if you are struggling with worth, you have to go. That is a whole psychological thing that you have to work at. Okay, you got to work at your worth, because if you do not come into the space of understanding you're worthy of it, what happens is that you're going to go to the marketplace, you're going to do the same job, and in the same workplace, you're going to be making 20,000 less than the next person.
Correct.
Working the same job, because you haven't found yourself worthy enough, and you haven't built the muscle to ask for that which you are worthy of.
Correct.
And so, but some of these things we don't come into this country with. So you have to build them in you, or get a coach to coach you into them,
Yes.
Because otherwise you're not going to know to be able you're not going to be able to build that muscle. Okay, so either get a coach, but you have to build that capacity. I'll tell you something. This lesson came to me, like it was so reinforced. There's some time when we had a shortage at work, a few years back, and no, actually, two workers doing different jobs, but we had to do extra work for a particular reason. And I remember I had told my boss, I will do X and Y and Z, but you will have to give me a raise, okay? Yes. After I do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so this other girl did all this work, but had assumed that he would automatically know because you did all this work. So we went, the day of payday, the day of bonuses came, and she was mad. Oh my gosh, she was so mad. She's like, I can't believe he did not see. I did all this work. I didn't. And I did. Of course, I never said a word. I didn't say a peep, because I had gotten. I had asked for a raise, and I had told him that, but I had pre-negotiated that I'm gonna do these many returns, because if you're going to also then match that by giving me more money. So anyway, she was very mad, and that made me realize, if you do not ask, people do not assume that people are going to assess your value. It's your job to assess your value. And at the point in time you sit in a place and realize you're not you're not being paid in accordance to the value that you bring, then you need, whether it is a service that you're providing, whether you're in a business and you're providing it to customers who do not see the value that you're bringing, or you are in a workplace that is not paying you in accordance to the value that you bring, then at that point you need to shift. That is your job, to make the shift.
Yes. And so, still on this path, the power of networking and expanding our networks. You know, we talked about the comfort, like when we're immigrants, we tend to really want to have that fuzzy, warm feeling of being with our home country people, and even worse, to our tribal person. So we have a limited networking of people. Talk about networking and how that can help elevate one to another level.
Actually, I want to say that I think the biggest challenge we have as immigrants is that we do not have a network. It's the biggest hindrance to our progress. It's a thing that limits our money the most. And most immigrants come to a cup. Have you ever noticed, or have you heard that many times the second generation, let's say you immigrant, usually the first generation, those children are the ones who take things to the next level.
Yes.
Why? Because they have the capacity to build a network. And it's not that we don't have capacity, it's that we are so, we don't prioritize it. One, we don't think it's necessary. Of course, the company, that warm network, that warm closeness is very, is like it's
like a nice blanket.
Enticing. It's a blanket. It makes you go to sleep, you know.
Yes.
I mean, as long as I have a better car than everybody else, why do I need to network? I arrived.
You and who are you measuring? And the people you're measuring yourself with, really, it's.
But that is what I mean. So the measure becomes
the
small little material things that we acquire.
Yeah.
And so because I have that, why do I need to network with anybody else? And this is a thing. I'm not saying that you have to understand the difference between social network and those business or career network.
Correct.
You don't have to lose your social network with your buddies.
No.
But you can keep that, but still understand that you need to build your professional network, your business network. Now, yes, some of those social networks also contribute to the business. But this is what I would say. If you look at yourself and realize you feel like you're capped, I almost want to submit to you that if you are good at what you do and you deliver good service, you're excellent at what you do, and you deliver good service, and you're capped and you're feeling like you are limited, I submit to you that your network is a challenge. You have come to the end of the network that you have, and you have to figure out how to grow that network. And this is the thing. Something very simple. I watch simple things like the neighborhood Facebook, right? Somebody comes in there and says, I need shelves, or I need curtains put up, I need whatever. And people go in there and say, oh yeah, so Daniel, call Daniel. Daniel doesn't know these people. Daniel just happens to be, like I joke, there's a guy in our neighborhood. That guy has literally done everybody's yard. He does this little stonework.
Okay. And
he's done literally, I mean, we live in a relatively new subdivision, and literally everybody's flower beds. Every other house has that flower bed, that stonework. And it's the same guy who lives in the neighborhood. Wow. And it is all about, oh, you need to talk to so-and-so. The amazing thing is that our fear keeps us out of building social networks in this country.
Yes.
But it's an unfounded fear. The thing is, because, okay, let me burst your bubbles a little bit, okay? I believe, as I say, keep your social networks. I'm not telling you to leave the coziness and warmness of your social network. Keep that.
Yes.
But if you're going to be in this country and you intend to live here for a minute, then you need to expand that social network, not just so that you can. There's a saying that somebody who doesn't leave their house thinks only the mother cooks well, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
if you never leave the nest, you never know that somebody else can refer your business. If you never leave the nest, you never know that somebody else can be like, hey, Lucy does this.
Yes.
So you're going to sit in your cocoon assuming that nobody would ever refer Lucy. But this is the thing. I want you to go to your shopping center. And I want you to go to that shopping center and who do you take your dry cleaning to? The Asian lady who doesn't speak English.
Yes.
Barely speaks English. Barely speaks
Knows
English.
how to count money.
Okay. Yes. But yet, when the neighborhood says, where do we take dry cleaning? They say, Lee at the corner. Where do we take our alterations to? To Lee, to so-and-so who does that. Where do we go get our tortillas? It's not because they don't have an accent. They just are willing to do business with everybody.
Yes.
And we have to be willing to open ourselves to do business with everybody. And we have to believe in ourselves that that whatever we have to offer is good enough. The main thing is, if I produce excellent work, that anybody should be able to, that service can be served to anybody. If I do good dry cleaning, I should serve everybody my dry cleaning. Yes. If I do good home health, I should serve everybody my home health. Can you imagine if home health people decided to limit their service to just Kenyan folk? How many people would they serve?
Very few, if any.
Very few, very few. And that's a capacity. That's a mindset we need to have in every one of us who is doing business. That's the mentality we have to have. That our service, produce a good enough service, produce a good enough goods. Let your production be top notch, and then offer it to everybody. And if that means that you need to get on that neighborhood WhatsApp, and when people say, hey, today is a day to market your business, you post your business there as well. Because you know what? You have the capacity to deliver.
Yes.
But you have to believe, going back to that first word, believe in yourself. Believe that you do have something to offer this nation and anybody in this nation. Now, we have to get past this idea that I'm going to get discriminated. I'm going to, I have an accent, all the things that we talk about. I have a friend who tells me that I'm so oblivious. I'm not oblivious, but this is the thing. I'm not saying that there's no discrimination. I'm not saying that there's no racism. It exists. It is there. But I also believe that this nation, far too often, most people just want a good quality goods, quality services. And if you will deliver that quality good and quality service, they don't really care what package you come in.
Correct.
If you give me the best price and a good quality, why do I care about the package you come in? Really? So I think our focus should be delivering good quality. Focus on being the best. Yes. Focus on doing good work. And let that good work be your confidence. And of course, as a believer, I also believe that, in the favor of the Lord, ask God for favor in the marketplace. Yes. God, I'm asking you to favor me as I go into this marketplace. But wherever you show up as that entrepreneur, knowing that you have something to offer. When you go to that neighborhood watch or that PTA or what is the other thing called? The HOA meeting or whatever else meeting, go there in that capacity of who you are, because you never know. You never know who will be willing to say, hey, I want to try you out.
Yes.
And the other thing is, 99% of this country, I really want to say 99, maybe 9, at least let's say 90%, is not sitting there at the corner saying, when are we going to wake up and discriminate? No, they're too busy living their lives. 90% are so busy living their lives. They don't think about you. You all think about them more than they think about you.
Yes.
They're too busy running their kids to soccer and football and figuring out meals and doing their business, figuring out how to get ahead in the workplace. They're so busy ingrained in their own lives, they don't have time to think about you.
Yes.
So when you're sitting in the corner assuming that somebody is going to discriminate, they just want service. They just want curtains. They just want bookshelves. Okay? They just want what they want. Can you give what I want?
Can you provide it?
Can you provide it? That's all I care.
Awesome, awesome. So our viewers, hope you are sharing this with your friends so that they can also partake of this amazing conversation. So with that said, do you think we are afraid of success as diasporans?
No, I don't think we're afraid of success. I think we have limited what we think success is.
Okay.
I think we have limited success to having a house and a car. I'm sorry, but I think that I think we haven't decided that we want to build $10 million business. I think, or we want to, I think because this is a thing, you can only achieve that which you perceive, you're willing to perceive. I don't think we're afraid of success. I think we have set our bar too low.
Too low.
Okay. Yes. And some of that, it comes with belief again, because we haven't believed that we can be the people who are going to do the $1 million business. Because you see, the thing is, when you decide I'm going to do $1 million business, then you have to build the capacity of producing $1 million business.
Yes.
When you decide that you're going to make $200,000, that you see, this is a thing. Going back to setting the bar too low. If we decide that the highest, if I decide that, you know what, the highest, to me, the thing I aspire to the most is making $70,000. Yes. And I'm not saying $70,000 is little money. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money. But if we decide that that is a cup of success, then if that's all I aspire to, then I only develop capacity for that. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. But if I want to serve, like, for example, if I want to serve a certain type of clientele, I have to build the capacity to confidently serve that kind of clientele. Yes. If I want to build a home health company that is going to do 2 million, I have to build that capacity. And whether it means understanding how to build my systems, whether it means understanding marketing, whether it means going back and doing some personal development, whether it means understanding, getting that consultant, whatever I need, I have to build a capacity. Because remember, money is a consequence of production. Yes. So if I want to grow money, if we're going to use money as a measure of success, then I have to grow productivity. I have to, and for me to grow productivity, I have to grow capacity. Yes. So what happens? So if I set my bar lower, I don't have to grow my capacity that much. True. And so the challenge, so I think, and part of the reason why we set the bar low is because when we hard together, then we don't know that there's more. And it's not that we're not capable. We are highly capable. We are highly capable. We just have to decide. The other day I met a lady called me. Yes. And she called me because she's not a CPA, but she needed to do this work, and a CPA was needed. Mm-hmm. I showed up at this person's office. They're not a CPA. They do tax work, but they may do simple taxes, but they also have. They started and told me they have 120 clients, business clients that they serve in this manner. They told me what they're charging for their rates. I looked at her and I said, oh my goodness, I needed to meet you. Because I realized, oh my God, even me who is a CPA was rating myself too low. Wow. And the thing is, so I looked at this person in their small office and I thought, my goodness, the level of, they are producing some serious money out of that little office. Yes. But because they believe in themselves. By the way, this woman, allow me to describe her. She's a Black woman. Mm-hmm. moved into Texas with her 2 children. She was a single woman. And she told me one day she quit her job and decided to go start her work.
Wow.
And but along the way, she met her husband. And she said to me, the reason why she said, because you haven't believed. And yes, she challenged me. That woman challenged me. And that is what I'm trying to say, that as long as we set the bar lower, we never have to build that capacity. Yes. You don't have to go out and network. You don't have to grow your professional network. This is the thing. Sometimes if you want to move to the next level of position, especially if you're in corporate, you need to network. That's the bottom line. There are jobs you'll never get unless you're referred. Yes. There's some capacity. There are spaces that you're not going to get into until somebody says, hey, by the way, remember how I talked about being visible and somebody's bringing you to that top 10 people who are going to get shortlisted? Yes. Somebody sometimes has to speak your name so that you can get shortlisted. So so part of growing that capacity is growing that network. Inside capacity is growing your network. Yes. But you're never going to feel the need to grow your network if your bar is so low. Correct. That is very true. Talk about the benefits of mentors. Sometimes we jump into all this, Catherine is doing this, I think I can also do it. Talk about mentors. Mentors are critical because mentors are people who have been there, done that, got the t-shirt. If you're going to grow your capacity, you need a mentor. You need a mentor in the industry you are in the area you're trying to grow. Yes. Because a mentor is going to tell you, these are the pitfalls, avoid them. This is how you grow. And typically it needs to be somebody who's been there, done that, who is confident enough to be willing to give back. And typically you're not going to find that among your kinfolk because we are all trying to build our capacity. You're all trying to grow. So I cannot be pulling you if I'm also trying to grow. So sometimes the unhealthy competition we find is because we are all just trying to get ahead. Okay. Yes. So instead of getting caught up in worrying about, go get somebody outside. But that's where it goes back to that network. Because that mentor is not going to be in your network. They're going to be outside of your network because they have to be somebody who has been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And that person is the one who can then hold your hand and tell you, you know what? By the way, let me throw you these small bones because you know what? I don't need to be doing small bones. I've grown enough. I don't need small bones. Let me throw you some bones. Yes. And that allows you to build capacity in your business. That's the person in the workplace who is able to tell you, listen, you've been sitting here in this staff accountant position. If you want to become a manager, you need to do 1, 2, 3. Yes. Because most of us sit in the same place because we don't have anybody to tell us how to get to the next level. Yeah. So if you want to move to the next level, you need a mentor, and it is your job to look for a mentor. They're not going to find you. So you have to first desire that you want a mentor, and you have to start seeking. So in whatever industry you are in, you need to be thinking, whether you're in business or whether you're in a job, you need a mentor to get ahead. But let me also then say there's somebody else called a sponsor, not the Kenyan kind of sponsor. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Okay. The concept is kind of similar, like CDCO. No, not that one. Yes, COO. Not the one who guys your car and apartment. No. But this is somebody who speaks your name. You need somebody who can speak your name when you're not there. And this is the thing in the workplace. Back to that network. You have to build a network. You have to be visible because you cannot build a network when you're at the back burner. You have to build a network by being visible. And then when you're visible, then you can develop the relationships because a sponsor is somebody who puts their name on the line on your behalf, who says, you know what, we need a team lead. Can we consider Lucy McKenzie, Dr. Lucy McKenzie? Can we consider Kimi Nyakundi, okay, to team lead? Because I think she has a capacity. And somebody's going to be like, no, Kimi, we don't know Kimi. They're like, no, I know her. I know her work. She's pretty good. I think you need her to team lead. Because that team leading is what is going to bring the promotion to be the manager. The next level, yes. Okay. And so somebody has to speak your name. And many times mentors and sponsors are not going to be the same person. Correct. But you have to get out of your shell to be able to build those relationships. And let me go back and say, part of building those relationships is building your confidence. So what do you need to do to feel good about who you are? How do you present? Oh, the other day I talked about business casual. Oh, by the way, I have a little blog. Let me talk about my little blog. Let me put a blog. Let me put my plug.
Please.
So this, okay, I have a serious side. Okay, both of them are serious, but I have my accounting mathematical side. But then I have this other
life, the
girly,
other stuff that you
homemaking, womanly, and in that space. So I've been needing an outlet for that, I guess, quasi-creative side. And and I love talking about career, but career is not really accounting, and it's not the same. And so I started this little blog called 40 Pearls, 40pearls.com. Find it, subscribe. I have a page, 40pearls.com. And 40 Pearls is basically a space where I'm talking about wisdom for living that I learn as a mom, as a woman who has to balance being a mother, a wife, and and an employee, a business owner. So I'm gonna be talking about career. I'm gonna be talking about some tips about career in there. And so what I shared last Friday or Saturday was how to dress professionally for that business, that business casual, that's Friday casual. When they say you can wear jeans, how do you wear jeans and still look presentable and still look professional? So that's what I talked about, and I'll be sharing on that there. So going back to brand, see, your brand is important in building your network.
Yes.
And so your brand is really important in building your network because you who you are is who is going to connect with other people. So and first impressions matter. So if the first time you meet that potential sponsor, you look like you rolled out of bed, you are not going to attract that person, right?
Yes.
So you do need to understand and know that you're carrying your brand with you all the time. So in that meeting, in how you dress, in how you speak, in how your posture, even your posture is speaking. So when you're sitting there slouching, like you're bored in that meeting,
like
there is somebody in there who is
done.
Exactly. There's somebody in that meeting who is going, well, this is not the person that I'm gonna be having team lead. So you're carrying your brand with you all the time. Yes. And you have to be intentional and conscious about that brand. I do a class sometimes called Level Up Your Career. I'll probably do it again this year. And we talk about all these things that allow you to really grow your career, the things that will allow you to tweak. And the people who have taken the class, I have a lady who actually has a testimony. She actually got herself to 6 figures. She took a few lessons from that class and went back to her workplace, and within a couple of years had hit 6 figures and had gotten promoted. Yeah. But you got to know some of those things. That's what I said. If you need a coach, get a coach. Do what you need. If you read a book, get a coach, watch some video, do something. But sometimes these things are not intuitive. So you got to learn them. It's part of building your capacity. And to build your network, you have to be visible. You have to be visible. You cannot sit at the back burner. The girl, you'll be a
quiet person.
You'll be the worker bee who is paid the least.
Yes.
If you sit at the corner and not say anything.
And so when we haven't made up our minds, and for the most part, when we move to the diaspora, some of us think we're going to be here for like 2-3 years, be done with school, then go back home, and then we end up staying here for years and years and years. Talk about that diasporan who's trying to thrive but hasn't made up their mind whether they want to be here or they want to be in wherever. Say in our case, they want to be in Kenya, but they've been here for at least 5, 6, 10 years, 20 years. Talk about that person. How do they reel themselves back in and begin to thrive?
This is what I say. And I know you've heard me say this. There's something called the decision. Every immigrant needs to make the decision.
Yes.
And it's not an easy decision, but you have to make it. And this decision is, 1, am I here to stay? Yes or no? 2, okay, yes, I'm here to stay. Okay, unpack your bags. If you're here to stay, you need to unpack your bags. And you need to start to plant yourself in this nation. So build that network. Get to know your neighbors. Yes. FYI. Okay, get to know your neighbors. Build roots because you're here. Yes. What's the need of being here and you have no roots in this place? What's the need of being here? And anyway, so build roots and grow a big tree. You're here. Okay, are you here to stay? No. Okay, I'm not here to stay. Okay, if you're not here to stay, how long are you going to be here? You need to decide. I'm going to be here till I'm 70. I'm going to be here till I'm 50. I'm going to be here till I'm 40. You need to know that number.
Yes.
And the reason why you need to know that number, because the Bible says that if without a vision, my people perish.
Yes.
Okay. There's a version that says, without a vision, my people throw off restraint. What does that mean? It means you have no boundaries. You can't even build capacity because you have no boundaries. You see, when you have a boundary that says, I'm going to be here till I'm 50, then it starts to make you make a decision. Okay, do I need to buy a house or not? If I'm buying a house, then maybe you don't need to be buying a house like so-and-so. Maybe I need to buy a smaller house because I don't want to keep renting, but I need a smaller house because I'm going to be here till such and such. So maybe I need to be thinking, okay, I'm going to be here till 50. My kids are going to be at this age. So maybe what matters to me is I need to give them the best education. You're making decisions with a restraint, with boundaries.
Yes.
Because you have a clarity, you have a vision of what you're doing, why you're here, and how long you're here.
Yes.
The challenge becomes when we just live, wow. Then what happens is that we say, we are going back home because Lord have mercy. I don't want to go to nursing home in America.
Yeah. Yes.
This is a problem. We keep saying we don't want to go to nursing home in America, but because we have no boundaries and no restraint, we will actually go to nursing home in America. But this is the sad part. You're going to go to nursing home in America because you didn't plan.
Yes.
See, when you have boundaries, you don't scatter. See, because you don't have boundaries, this is what happens. So-and-so comes and says, you need to buy a plot. You buy a plot. So-and-so, stocks is what, shares? Oh my God, they're hitting. So you buy shares. Tomorrow, so-and-so says, hey, this is the company. You get in there. So what ends up happening, you spent 20 years, and if I ask you where your money is, it's scattered. Because you have a plot where that got grabbed. You have this, you started paying on this, and somebody did what? You decided to do business with so-and-so, and they stole from you. You have one of the things my husband and I have been doing the last 3 years is we are gathering. Because when we made the decision, it took us a while to make the decision, but when we made the decision, we decided we are no longer scattering. And we have been gathering. We've been asking, hey, those shares that we put over there, what is the value? Can we figure out how we can collect that?
Yes.
Because you know what? Because this is a thing that people fail to realize. You can make money anywhere.
Yes.
There are so many investment streams that can make you money, right? The same person who took 20,000 and scattered in Kenya, and hear me out, that $20,000 that you scattered 10 years ago, if you had put it in the stock market in very conservative index funds, it would have grown here too.
Yes. Money can be grown anywhere.
it would have grown and actually grown quite a bit. So you're sitting there saying, I don't need a 401k, I'm going back to Kenya. Okay. But in the meantime, nothing is together. Yes. The other thing is, you see, when you have a vision, your vision starts to drive your decisions. It has to drive your decisions. Okay, if I'm going back to Kenya at 70, maybe I don't need a McMansion in Kenya. Maybe what I need, if I'm going back at 70 with no children and my children, I'm leaving them in the United States, I don't need a McMansion. What I need is a home that will handle me as I get older. So maybe I need to be thinking about a home that's close to a hospital. Maybe I need to be thinking about a bungalow, because guess what? I'm going to be older. This is my retirement home.
Yes.
So maybe I don't need to be building a McMansion in Rushago. Maybe I need to come closer to town. Just say.
Yes.
Because then you start to make decisions that are based on vision. You're making decisions that add up to something, as opposed to just making decisions on the fly.
Wow.
So that you start looking at your life and that's the thing. Most of us in diaspora, we look at our lives and say, what have we done with our lives?
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing. When you don't have a vision, so and so comes, all the relas comes and say, hey, you know, I need. And you become the person who helps everybody, but never helps yourself. Because you have no vision for your life. Because you haven't made a decision. You have to have a vision. And you have to have a vision for your life. And everything else about you has to start being aligned with that vision.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I am doing a class in March called Win Big. How to win big in life. Okay.
Yes.
And these are some of the things I'm going to talk about. And we will do these things practically. Because you can't just throw off. We can't live life on the fly. And that's the thing. But this is a thing. Why do we not make a decision? Because somebody is going to shame you that you decided to stay in America. So you're so afraid to make that decision. But you're staying. Every day you're staying. You've been here 20 years and you've refused to make a decision.
Yes.
You have no plan to go home. You haven't made a single plan to move back to Kenya. You're still here 30 years, still saying you're going home, and you've refused to make a decision because somebody's going to shame you because you decided to stay. Really? Are they going to take care of you when you're old?
We need to make that decision.
We need to wake up and make that decision. And there's no wrong decision. Just make it. There's no wrong decision.
Right.
I am going home. Okay. When? If I am going home, what does that mean? Okay, if I'm going home at a certain age, I need a place to live. Where am I living? Where am I gonna live? What's gonna serve me? I've listened to so many people who tell me, I'm sitting here with so much debt on the McMansion I was building in Kenya that is not finished. I need another 10 million to finish the McMansion because I can't, because I think, because I went to America, I have to come and live in my McMansion in Kenya.
Yes.
Yet you have no plans of going. You haven't done anything that will make you go back. So we stay because we don't have enough. We haven't accumulated enough. And this is the thing. Lucy Mackenzie, you've been in Kenya. You know
yes.
Kenya. Kenya has a high cost of living.
It does.
You think you have $100,000? You think you're going to go home with 200,000? It's nothing.
It's nothing.
Yeah. And I'm not telling. So my point is, when you decide, I'm going home. When am I going? Okay. What do I need when I go? This is what I need. Then you start to make your life align with that decision.
Yes.
So the decisions you're making. So sometimes you have to say no to yourself. So maybe you don't need to be buying Louis Vuittons. Maybe you don't need to be buying the fly bag because you are going back in 5 years. Okay. So you need to be saving up. Maybe you need to be building a business. Maybe you need to be flying home more often to build that network back home.
Correct.
Whereas, so when you see me wearing or whatever, or you see me in a new car, you don't need to be buying a new car. You need to be driving your old car because you need to save up. Because you need to fly home. Because this is the thing. I may be sitting in America and not going to Kenya all the time. You need to be flying home every 6 months because you need to build that capacity, because you need to build that relationship, that network there, because you are going in 5 years. So you stop living life according to my life. You start living life according to your vision.
Correct.
That's why these decisions are so critical. And we cannot afford to keep chugging along without making these decisions.
Correct.
And we cannot let shame or other people decide for you, because it is your life and it is your children. If you're going back, you need to think about, what am I doing with my kids? You know, there's a time my husband and I we really thought we were going back, and we were actually actively planning.
Yes.
And we were actively, you've had this chit chat, and we were actively making decisions. And one of the things that was very critical, we have young children. Where are your children going to go to school? If you talk to anybody in Nairobi, they'll tell you, you need to know where the place where you locate yourself. You need to be thinking about schools. So if you want a certain standard of school, then you need to thinking about, I need to be living in that side. Maybe I need to go buy the little house in the side which has the school that I want, as opposed to buying the big mansion there in a space where that's not going to allow me to give my children the education that I want. So that's the other thing. So sometimes, yes, because we don't have a vision, sometimes we go home with this idea. And we go home with this idea, and then after you go home, you realize, I built a house in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
I spent all this money doing this, and now this is not serving me.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm going back. You have to have a vision, and think the entirety of your life. I'm going home with kids. Where are they going to school? What do I want for them? Are they coming back to the United States for education? Okay, if that's what that means, then what kind of school do I need to put them in? What's that school gonna cost me? Because some of these schools are not 2 pennies.
They're not. They're even more expensive than schools here.
Sometimes they're more expensive than the private school here. So
correct.
Meaning that, and by the way, if that's the case, then if I know I'm gonna be coughing $12,000 for my Jaden to go to school in a particular school in Kenya, then I start to live differently. Do you see what I'm saying? So maybe I don't need a big house in America. I need a small house that I can sell or live renting. Maybe I don't need to drive a big car. I need to drive the small car so that I can accumulate this money, because I am going and I need to educate my children while I'm there. So that's what that vision does. The decision fits into the vision for your life. And then you start to live life intentionally and purposefully. So then so that your thriving comes because you are living with intention.
Absolutely. And you know, time, yeah. Do you know time has gone, my dear?
What time?
Guy, the time has gone. But it is good. It is good.
Oh, it's 1 hour. I think exactly it's 1 hour. Okay.
All right. So another thing that we need to talk about that hinders some of our ways that we thrive is credit score. Talk about that.
So, when you borrow worthiness, can I lend you and you will pay back?
Yes.
Now, going back to that living without decisions, when we're just living, because we are not intentional, then we throw off restraint. We don't pay our bills on time because, see, we went to party with Fulani. See, so and so called me. There's a shamba. I can't pay this credit card right now. I need to get the plot.
Yes.
You know, so in the process of that scattering, because we are not focused, we are not intentional. We don't pay our bills on time. One of the biggest things that affects our credit score, our credit worthiness, is paying on time, paying our bills on time. And most things, the interesting thing is that most bills, you don't have to pay on the date. Yes. So long as you don't pay 30 days beyond the date it was due. That's when they report it to the credit bureau. So you really have, most times you have anywhere between 15, sometimes 30 days to pay the bill.
Yes.
So many times it's not because we don't have money. It's because we were just not focused. We are not living with intention. So now, if the issue is not being able to pay because you don't have the money, then you have to ask yourself, am I living beyond my means?
Yes.
And if you're living beyond your means, then the only way is to adjust your means. Okay, adjust your, no, there are two ways. You can adjust your means, or you can adjust the way you're living. And initially, you need to adjust the way you're living. And as you adjust your means, so that you can now live within your means. So now, credit score also affects your ability to get a job. If you're in a corporate, finance, anything finance.
And to dealing with money.
Anything dealing with money, they're going to check your credit score. So you're going to miss out on a job because of your credit score. Insurance, your credit score affects the rate of insurance, the rates that you get for insurance. They check your credit score. Your credit score affects the ability to get a mortgage, or affects the rate. And this is the thing, the rate matters because of this. If you have a good credit score, you may be able to walk into a car dealership and get a car without any money. Whereas somebody else walks into the dealership and has to put down $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Now, I'm not saying we should not, and here I'm not encouraging that. All I'm just trying to say is the cost of money becomes more because your credit score is low. Okay. Then there are things that you just don't qualify for. Right now, there was government funding. There was economic disaster assistance loans. That if you did not have a 590 is not hard. But if you didn't have a 590, you couldn't get an economic disaster loan. A loan at 3.75%.
Wow.
I mean, who will ever give a business? Who will ever give you in your business a loan for 3.75%? But if your credit score, and as I said, sometimes it's not because we didn't have the money. It's just because we don't live intentionally. We didn't prioritize paying our bills on time. So that is something we just need to check. But it's going to affect so many things. And you're going to be paying a higher price simply because your credit score is low. And if that's the case, first of all, change your behavior. Start paying your bills on time. Automate them if you need to. Pay attention to your money twice a month. You don't even have to check your money every day, but at least twice a month. Check to see what's going on in your account. Don't just spend without knowing what's going on in your account. Have a budget. And you can, okay, now this is getting more details, but the point is, yes, the credit score does really affect you, and it will affect your ability to buy a house. It affects even rent. There are places you cannot rent if your credit score. So in this country, it affects
a lot,
almost your entire life. Yeah. So you do, and as I said, you just need to pay attention to those things. Really just being intentional and paying attention.
Okay. So now that we're coming almost to the end, could you give some idea of how does one pivot in 2021 after the year we've had in 2020? How does one pivot and make the best of that 1 year that we kind of lost?
Actually, well, two things. The year was not lost for everyone.
And I'll tell you
why. It wasn't. And it wasn't because the season of coronavirus came with issues, but those issues were also opportunities. And the people who are willing to solve the problems that were created by coronavirus made a ton of money. Actually, some of the people just
blew it out of the water.
Yes, I mean, yes. Yeah. So, which goes back to solving a problem. So the question in 2021, by the way, life is the same. It hasn't changed.
Yes.
With or without Corona, 2020 or 2021, life is the same. The question is, what are the opportunities that 2021 brings? And what is your ability? Have you built a capacity, an ability to solve whatever problems that come with 2021, being the solution of it? So I want you to think about simple things like Zoom. Zoom existed, but because of the issue that happened with 2020, with us moving home, Zoom all of a sudden became a hot ticket. The stock market, went through the roof. Why?
Yes.
Because Zoom was providing a service that was in alignment with the problem that coronavirus created. So going back to that unique self, how do you position? What problem are you created to solve? And how is that problem? How does that problem present itself in 2020?
Yes.
One of the things that we were very fortunate to do, and we are very proud of, is that we helped a lot of small businesses connect with the funding that was available with the government. And a lot of people have given me testimonies. They listened to me and they went out and applied for their PPP, they applied for unemployment and whatever, and they were blessed. But some of that started when I started talking about this. I started to research and learn about what was going on with the stimulus, with the issues that were going on in the economy. And that is how we, even our company, realized we have the capacity to help small businesses connect with this funding. And we were able to solve that problem and help a lot of small business people. And we are very happy and very proud of those small business people that were able to get that funding and able to shore up their business. Some of them were able to grow their capacity because they now had this funding. So what does your unique set of experience, your personality, your natural aptitude, and how can you augment that to solve a problem in 2021? Because that is all it is.
Yes.
It's problems and solving problems. That's the bottom line. Even in your job, sometimes we think that does not apply to me. No, it does. Because in that job that you do, whether you're a nurse, there is a need. That need is for somebody to care for, to give medicine. And where you as a nurse come in and with the skill to make sure that the patient is getting the right dosage according to what was prescribed. That's the problem that you solve. So the question is, okay, if you want to do, for example, a side hustle, you might have your main hustle, your job, or whatever. But what are the needs that are cropping up, even in our own community, that you can solve with the skill that you have? This is a thing. Far too often we try and do what other people are doing, but is there any way to provide a unique solution that is unique to you, because it is you who is solving the problem and not somebody else, because it's you in your DNA, in your makeup, in your personality that is offering it, as opposed to somebody else. So I think that's the thing. Now, one of the things that they're saying is that there's a lot of pent-up demand. It is artificially suppressed because we couldn't purchase. So there are two things that are going to be happening in 2021. There's suppressed pent-up demand that will start to open up as the coronavirus, because right now the economy is artificially suppressed by the health crisis. Yes. We don't have an economic crisis. We have a health crisis that's creating an economic crisis. So as the health crisis gets solved, that demand is going. And by the way, when we talk about pent-up demand, look at how the stock market, look at how this Main Street is kicking Wall Street.
Yes.
Why are they kicking them behind? Because when they got $600 stimulus check, there was no place to take it. I couldn't go to the restaurant and I couldn't do all these things. I put it in the stock market.
Yeah.
So Main Street took their 1,200, their 600, their whatever, took it in the into the stock market, and that's the reason why they can give hedge fund managers a run for their money.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to that space of pent-up demand. So there is pent-up demand, and if you as this demand opens, what are you offering that can meet that demand?
Yeah.
Two things. The other thing is there are players that have exited the market. They exited the market because, for example, it's interesting. Yesterday, my husband and I were talking about transport industry. There's a lot of big company names that have exited the trucking industry.
The trucking industry.
because they didn't have the capacity to withstand the shrinkage that happened with coronavirus. They didn't have, so you who is a small small tracker, how can you maybe collectively or whatever, however you do this, start to meet that pent up demand, because the demand is coming back. So when that demand starts to open up, how can you meet that demand in your capacity, in the unique circumstance that you are? How can you provide a unique solution to people who need to transport goods?
Yeah.
You know, so finding the opportunities that 2021 is going to bring, seeing how we can fit into the shoes of the people who have exited. But this is a thing, the economy is like a hill and a valley, hill and a valley.
Yes.
Right now, the economy is at the valley. We are at the bottom of the economic cycles. The US economy runs about 10-year cycles. And every 10 years is about a bust of some sort created. It's like there's this growth that happens, then there's a bust. So the last economic downturn we had was in around 2009 with the housing bust crisis. So now we have 10 years later, we have a health crisis that created an economic downturn. So we are at the bottom of the economic growth. So what am I saying is that if you can position, somebody's telling me to move to the north. Why do I need to move to the north? Okay, sorry, I read the comments. So if you're at the bottom, we are at the bottom of the market cycle right now. Meaning that if properly positioned with the right business proposition, with the right good or product, you can ride this wave to the top. People who properly position themselves at the bottom of this cycle will ride this wave to build $1 million businesses.
But we have to be ready.
But you have to be ready. You have to build that capacity.
That's right.
You have to build that capacity. So yeah.
All right. So our viewers, I think we've been here an hour and a half now almost. So Dr. Catherine, it has been a pleasure, and you know we have a great time when we meet. So what are your parting words to our viewers? And I know we will have another opportunity to engage again in this conversation and see where people are in the middle of the year, or what we need to do. What are your parting words?
My parting words are, first, like 40pearls.com.
Yes.
No, 40 Pearls, the page 40 Pearls. I also have another page, Thrive Consulting. Okay. Connect with me by liking those two pages so that when I post stuff, or you can friend me, follow me. My parting shot is two things. Actually, I'm going to summarize and say one, make the decision. That decision, make it. Have a vision for your life and put boundaries in your life so that you start living life intentionally.
Yes.
Because that is the foundation of a thriving life in diaspora. Actually, a thriving life anywhere. A thriving life anywhere. That is a foundation. And we have, I say that life responds to expectation. So, and your expectation, you set your goals based on your expectation.
Yes.
So push your expectations higher. You'll be surprised. Life will rise up to meet you at the level of your expectation. Yes. Yeah. So push those expectations up, because you know what? We are children of a big God. He's a creator of the heavens and the earth. Everything that you see, everything that there is, even the vaccine that you all want to tell us not to take, everything there is was created in his power. Therefore, the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. And you as a child of God can take as much as you want.
Yes.
I know that sounds like, what? Anyway, and so what I would say is you need to join me for Win Big. We talk about these things in a more practical way. It's a workshop, and we're going to do this over a month so that we can have time to digest. When I've done it in the past, I've done it in like one day, and that's just too much information. So we're going to digest through this. the class is going to be at the beginning of March. I'm going to put out the information. I decided to wait a little bit and kind of solidify my plan. But you need to join me for Win Big, because we are going to talk about this in detail, and I know it will bless you. So yeah, I think that is it. And be good. Let's go thrive. Let's keep thriving in this nation, or even if you're moving back to Kenya, wherever you are, go and shine, because you know what? Yeah, go shine. Yeah, go shine. It's within you. It is in your DNA to thrive. You just need to connect with that capacity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Catherine Gathuka Franklin, for honoring the request to join us on this Diaspora Conversation. We thank you, our viewers, for staying with us until the end, but we value you. And so we look forward to celebrating you applying all the information that you've had. You've taken the nuggets that are important. Make sure you make that decision. And you are a unique person with unique abilities to go out there and thrive. So thank you so much. Good night if you are in a place where it's nighttime. If it's morning, wherever you are, good morning and have a wonderful day. And for us, we wish you well. Make sure you wear your mask, you sanitize your hands, keep social distancing. COVID is still present here. Get the vaccine if it's being offered, or if you're in a place where you can get it. But let's stay healthy and let's connect again. Let's meet again on February 15th, where I have an exceptional speaker. She is an agricultural lady. I know a lot of you have asked about agriculture, so she is going to come and teach us how you move from small farming into doing something unique and awesome, just like Catherine has said. So go out there, thrive, and we will see you again. Good night, Lady Catherine. I'll see you soon. All right.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Mackenzie.
Thank you so much for coming.
All right.
I'll see you soon.